It's Happy Hour from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar today, we're at the fabulous Wayfare on Ferret Street, which is not just a bar, it's also a restaurant where they serve handcrafted food and spirits. They have a whole new menu and a radically new happy hour for 3 hours every day from 3 till 6, where everything is half price, including drinks and appetizers. That's Wayfare on Ferret Street. Come on down and hang out with your own friends, or you can hang out with us for the next 60 minutes. I'm here with a star-studded cast of people, believe it or not. You're not going to believe this. Bryan Batt is here. Hello, Bryan.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm alive and kicking.
Well, I can see that. Shall I tell everybody like one sentence about you? Bryan is a native New Orleanian, an actor, a designer, and a civic activist.
Yes.
I didn't realize you're a civic activist.
I act very civically, yes.
You seem to be, are you acting civically right now?
Yeah. Well,
how much is acting and how much is civics?
half and half.
Half and half?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on a couple of boards, and, I do fundraisers as much as I can.
That's what you're
awareness and stuff like that, yeah.
And Cheron Brylski is Sharon.
Yes.
It's spelled C-H-E-R-O-N.
Yes.
How come your parents chose that for spelling?
I don't know. I think for French.
They're French?
It means dear one.
Does it really?
Yes.
In French. Do you speak French, Bryan?
No.
Mikayla Braun is here, and so is James Keene, both from the band called the Crooked Vines. Do either of you guys speak French?
No.
Oui.
No. Oui, you do.
Oui.
Is that true? You really do speak French, James?
Oui.
That's it.
Okay. I've never heard the word. So your parents are not French, though, Cheron,
No,
are they?
they're Polish. I was married to a New Orleanian, Harold Baquet, so I really have a nice French name, which would be Cheron Baquet.
That would be nice, but what happened to that marriage?
But have been working so long that everybody knows me by Brylski,
Are you
which
still
is really what they
married
call
to
me. My husband recently
Monsieur
died.
Baquet?
He died a
Oh,
year
no.
ago. Yes.
Really? I'm sorry to
He
hear
was
that.
a New Orleans photographer, and his collection just went to the Historic New Orleans collection, and so he will be remembered.
Yeah, no kidding.
Very fondly.
How long were you married for?
Oh, over 25 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yes.
Oh, no. What did he die from? Natural
Cancer.
causes? Oh, my
Cancer.
God. That's bad.
Yeah, colon cancer, and he fought it really hard for 7 years, and but just got him in the end.
Cancer won in the end.
Yeah.
That is bad. So sorry to hear that. How are you
thank you.
doing?
Good, hanging in there. I miss him.
I bet.
It's been a life changer. I just think of everything New Orleanians have gone through in the last 10 years with Katrina, the oil spill.
Yeah.
Everybody I think has, especially older people in their families, have had, just so many crises. Just adjusting to living in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So.
I've never met you before, but I've seen your name all over the place.
Oh.
And
Yes,
I've
good and bad.
I've assumed all this time until today
Not at the
when I'm
post
looking
office.
at you,
Not at
I've assumed you're black.
Oh, really?
Do other people assume that?
You mean she's not?
Didn't you think? I've seen your name in the newspaper.
Do you know why I'm laughing at that?
Yeah,
Is
why?
because I have done a lot of work in the minority community
Right.
politically for over 30 years. Actually over 40 years, working with different politicians, getting them elected, working on civil rights issues. But lately, because of some stances I've taken on mainly protecting certain things in the French Quarter, fighting the construction of high-rises in the Marigny and Bywater, I've just been increasingly labeled a racist. And so, it's
A white racist.
yes.
Okay.
So,
Why is that? Why is it racist to be against building buildings?
I'm not sure.
What do you do? You're a public relations person, right?
Well, yes. And
Okay.
I will be honest with you. The people who
Well, you don't have to do that.
okay. Well, the people who've cried the loudest over these positions have actually been white developers, but they've used all kinds of.
It's anything to smear you.
Yeah,
right? I mean, they're just trying to negate.
So in one community, I'm a racist, and in the other, I'm a gentrifier. Even though I'm fighting for historic preservation and neighborhood preservation, but it's just part of being in
What side are
politics.
you on? Of what issue are we talking about? You don't want we're talking about building high-rises in the French Quarter, which is illegal to build anything over.
Well, and in the
so many.
Marigny, that
Right.
as the Marigny and Faubourg Bywater and even the Holy Cross area down the Lower Nine have gotten to be more popular to live in since Katrina because they didn't flood.
Right.
There's been a lot of interest from outside developers and local developers who've wanted to build high rises along the riverfront. And of course, that defeats the whole historic nature of that neighborhood. Those buildings are all maximum 3, 4. There are some that were built that are higher, maybe 5 or 7, 5 or 7 stories. Like NOCA is a higher building down there,
Right.
but the majority of the buildings are what they always were. And so we've been trying to maintain the character of that neighborhood even as it's gotten more popular to live down there. What my fear is that as condominiums go up in that area, the public access that people enjoy to the river and to that wonderful park that they've created will be gone. So
will it be gone, or could it be protected and still everybody get what they want? You could have a tall building.
it would be nice.
And we could still get to that. What is that called, that park?
Crescent
Crescent
Park.
Crescent Park, yeah.
It's beautiful.
Is that building still going up? The shopping center they were trying to plan there?
The hotel, the hostel.
There was like a building that I remember seeing an article on. They were trying to build like another Riverwalk type building in that park area for something in the next 5 years.
Further down, they're going to build, I think, like a complex around the port, which is something that's actually been kind of desired for that area with the Aber building that's going into different uses. But some of the new developments are all residential.
Oh, okay.
And they'll have commercial components to them, but I think the fear is that
What's the
that
objection?
view will be obstructed.
But there is no view right now, unless you're actually standing on the river. There's nowhere in New Orleans that's really made use of the riverfront.
Well, because we're
for real
low,
estate.
we'd be looking up at a levee most
Yeah,
of the
but
time.
I've always thought
Well, no,
down
there's got to be a
Chapel Street.
happy medium. I hear what you're saying. We don't want it to turn into Destin, Florida, where
Right.
we used to be this really quaint little beach town, and then it turned into nothing but high rises, and now it looks like Las Vegas in a way. And that is a dig at Las Vegas.
And-
But I do believe there has to be some kind of happy medium where the design aspect can complement the area, and it doesn't have to be so high that it's blocking the sunlight or blocking the view. On Magazine Street, we have a store on Magazine Street, and across the street from us was this what was it, American Veterans, center.
There was a VFW hall.
Yeah, it was vacant for forever. It was a nightmare. It was all spray painted. It was hideous. It was an eyesore. It was a lot of property, and no one really had the money to buy it. Walgreens wanted to move their Walgreens from Chapatulas over there. Every business owner, everyone in the area was livid. I mean, had a fit. And I was one of the only ones that went to the meeting and listened to what they had to say. And I'd seen in New York and some other places these, they did flagship stores, and they really made them beautiful. And they said that's what they wanted to do. But no one would hear them. And I finally said, well, they own it, and there are limits. They can't go too high. They can't. They have to maintain. If you look at it now, it's beautiful. It looks like it's been there since the turn of the century. It's really a beautiful. So I think there's got to be a way that you can, let them build. They can build something, but it has to be according to the legal, and then also what the neighbors want, because they have to live there too, and they were there first.
And I think that's a good thought that, first of all, there should be rational discussion. I think what's been sad in this is that it's degenerated into name calling.
Yes.
That's
Well, we
where
don't
I don't
specialize in
understand.
rational
And that
discussion around
happens
here.
now in everything, right?
Reality
You see it in-
life.
Yeah, it is.
Politics,
And we're
everything.
shutting down conversation by these irrational titles on people, or just assuming.
I think lately a lot of that has to do with social media and being able to say whatever you want and edit it before people see it, and then can react in whatever way behind closed quarters, where you don't actually have to have the physical conversation with somebody.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's just become easier and easier, which is a shame. But
And also, I really don't like people being able to go on like NOLA.com or some of these other things and not use their real name. Call me an old-fashioned person, but, you know, I don't want to sound like a little history, but, you know, people died for our right to express ourselves and the freedom of speech. So sign your damn name to it. If you're going to say something and have the, you know, think you have the balls, pardon my French, or the ovaries, whatever, to say what you believe, put your name to it. You know, you can't call people names and call people out and say all these horrible things and slander and not put your name to it. It has no meaning.
Well, it's too late for that because
everybody
everybody hides behind their Twitter handle.
Oh, I can't stand that.
But you're getting.
I've seen some stuff about that on like a meme where someone wrote out they had like a picture of some like thing slamming someone, and then it was signed user account. Yeah. Just like, well, exactly. No one cares about what you have to say if you're a user account.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably, you know, the biggest thing is one of the. I think when the internet started out, a lot of people were anonymous and just in figuring it out. But you know, I make sure my name's on everything, which is probably not good.
But
so
not
I get called a racist, a gentrifier, or whatever I am at the moment.
What's your interest in this? Is it professional? You've been hired by one of these groups, or do you live down there?
No, I did live in the quarter for years, and so what I have seen happen in the quarter. My husband was an artist, and so we lived. I'll be honest with you. We rented a wonderful space at Royal and St. Peter for $300 a year.
The high rise?
Or $300 a month.
You were in the
high rise, yes.
My aunts lived there. I grew up. I went to go see the parades on that second bell, Mid and V, Mid Leicester.
Rouse's?
No,
Right.
across.
Catty Cross.
I love that
the floor,
place.
yeah.
Well, they call it the high
The
rise.
high
right?
rise.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Donnell was
Johnny
in there.
Donnell, that was their best friend.
Sydney Arroyo, the musician,
Sydney,
political
yes.
consultant, yes.
Yes.
Still lives there. And so we lived there for years. And of course, we saw the quarter just become increasingly hard for artists to live in. And so,
Because it got too
truthfully,
expensive?
yeah.
Right.
It's too expensive. You can't park down there.
Parking,
Noise issues, which I know mean a lot of different things to a lot of people in the quarter. But it's gotten increasingly hard to live there. But it's that community, that residential community of. You can call us freaks if you want.
No,
you can,
bohemian, artists. And
that lifestyle.
And that's why everybody
that adds to your
gravitates towards
culture.
there because they want to be amongst the cool artists. You know what I mean?
can't afford to live in the quarter anymore.
Right.
It's increasingly hard to live in the Marigny. You know, I think almost everybody at some point in the 90s moved, like one part went down to the 9th Ward. You know, our group tended to go uptown. But, you know, it's just that loss of neighborhood in the quarter, and I really miss that. I mean, it was everything from Ruthie the Duck Lady to the Brennans, or you know, to Lindy Boggs, who lived down there.
Right.
I think she lived on Bourbon Street.
She lived on
actually.
Bourbon.
She
Yeah.
did. She did. Yes.
So
she didn't work on Bourbon. She lived.
She lived on Bourbon.
Just make sure we're
Right.
making it. She's
Just
an icon.
that's a kind of a loss, and people are really struggling, who are artists, to stay down there, and it's harder and harder. And
But those days are pretty much gone as far as the French Quarter being a bohemian place to live.
It is.
It's not anymore.
It's sad.
Right?
That being
I
said,
think
I
that-
do know a group of at least 25 ladies that all live in the quarter, that go out for coffee once a week. And a couple of them, I believe, are artists, but one of them is just a fantastic painter who lives on that same corner right now, actually. It's wonderful, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember growing up here, it was always special to go down there. It was special as a kid
Right.
to
I love
visit
the
my
quarter.
aunts that lived in that building and watch the parades go by when they used to be able to go in the quarter. And over the years, I mean, I worked at Le Petit Theater when I was in college and
Oh, wow.
and I'm on the board of the theater now. And it has changed. It really has. I find that there were so many other pockets of residential in the French Quarter that you don't see. And Bourbon Street was always kind of seedy, and in my opinion now it's just an festering sore. It's you know, there's no jazz, maybe one or two jazz clubs left, really. Am I right? Am I wrong? It's,
Right.
you know, it's
Well, people come to New Orleans looking for jazz because it's the birthplace
Exactly.
of jazz,
And you
and you
go
can't
now-
find it.
It's all cover band. As someone who's only been here, is it kind of interesting to have y'all's perspective because you have been here for so long? I've only been here
James,
for a little over 5 years.
Where'd you come from?
I came from a small town in Illinois, the southern part of the state. everyone always asks about Chicago, and I'm about as far from Chicago as I am from here whenever I'm in my hometown.
What was it called?
Pinkneyville.
Cool. What a great
Pinkneyville,
name.
yeah.
You guys know Pinkneyville?
No, I do now.
Mikayla, have you been to
forget it?
Pinkneyville?
It's great.
It's a cute little place.
We were just on tour, and actually we stayed with my parents on our way to Chicago, and so the band got to experience in my hometown. But to say, as you were saying before, I've always felt hearing you talk about the French Quarter and the Marigny in that way is really good to hear, because coming here, I always felt a separation from that area. It was like, not only could I not afford to live there, I didn't like the activities that happened there. You know what I mean? I came in right at the perfect time of the boom of Frenchmen that now everyone's talking about, the bourbonization of.
Right.
And it was like the golden era. I remember Frenchmen being amazing, and now it's like every Friday and Saturday that I go there or play there, it's like I'm going there, playing, and leaving.
This is just 5 years ago. It was cool.
Yeah.
Still.
Just as five years ago, you still had the people sitting on the sidewalk typing stories every 30 feet. You still had all
that
the.
still happens.
But it's confined to like one section. I used to remember at Maison, whenever I would go there as like a patron before I played there as much, or ever really, and there would be people standing outside smoking cigarettes, writing poems, or drawing pictures.
And what's
now
going
it's
on
all
now?
Now it's
People are having babies.
there's a giant mass.
Having
Did you guys hear about
Someone
that?
had a baby outside of Asso, and people sang the Beatles to it.
Actually gave birth to a baby on the
Shouldn't you
street.
sing Paul
on
Anka
Frenchmen Street.
and say, "Having my baby"? I don't
What
know.
a beautiful way.
Well, that's a fairly unusual event, I would
It
imagine.
was a first, I think. There was articles all over the place about
Oh, I
it too.
missed
Yeah, there
that.
was.
Were you guys down on the street that night?
I was
We
not.
were on tour.
Yeah, we were
We
gone,
saw
yeah.
we saw an article about it.
Where
And we were
have
like,
you
we
been on
missed
tour
it.
with this Crooked Bunch? Because last time we saw you, Mikayla, you didn't have a band. You were just sort of, you were Mikayla Braun. You were a nice little girl with a ukulele.
I still do that.
Yeah.
She's definitely not nice anymore.
No, you've really gone off the rails.
This is so interesting. I feel like this show is kind of a good reflection of like where I've been at certain points, because I see you like every
Right.
year and a half or 2 years or something. So it's interesting.
So you started off when you just got here from somewhere. Where was that? Upstate New York somewhere? You from?
I'm from Maryland, but I went to
Maryland,
college
close
in
enough.
Wisconsin.
Okay.
I'm all over the place.
And then you moved here with your ukulele and you were singing on the levee and down
I still
and
do
on
that.
the
I love
street.
busking. On Royal Street is my favorite.
And then you put out a record, which was pretty good, and you got some attention for that.
Well, yeah, and I had been, I guess, so I had met this band right after he had met the band as well, and that was about 3 years ago. But it's taken us some time to really understand each other's sound, because everyone has completely different musical influences, and we grew up in all different places. Actually, only one person in the band is from New Orleans.
So who's in
And
charge
give us the
of
name
this?
of the band again.
The Crooked
Crooked
Vines.
Crooked Vines.
That's okay, please. That's fine.
So whose band is it now? Have you taken over the whole thing? And
Oh no,
kicking
no.
with it?
It's a big collective. There are a couple people that we've delegated different kind of jobs. You want to touch on that, James?
As,
James, you're the
as one
trombone
of the
player
as
on the
one of the
band.
people that I think she's talking about that's delegated and been doing the delegation of tasks. I feel like there's a hair on this microphone tickling my nose.
There could be dog or cat hair.
It might be
People
my
have
hair.
pay extra for that. In the quarter, it costs a lot.
Exactly, you're right. That's like a solid $50 extra. No, but as someone that is taking a lot of that, I did for a long time. I did a lot of booking for the group. Now we've kind of moved on from that. We have some people that are working with us, especially in the New Orleans area, for a lot of that.
So you have a booking agent now?
It's not really that kind of situation. We have what we would call, I would say, a manager that does some of that stuff for us in the greater New Orleans area.
You would
that is.
say a manager. What would he or she say?
Probably a manager as well,
So-
but they're
so
doing
you have
it
a
full.
manager.
It's a full service. It's a full service job right now for where we are as a group.
Well, that's
but
a pretty good development, right?
yes.
If you have a manager.
as like a
Sorry
as like
about
a,
the cat hair.
No, it's
there, or
fine.
whatever it is.
As a
no, I'm feeling like it's all
as
over
a
my
yeah,
life.
you just feel it because I talked
yeah,
about it.
yeah. It's like when someone starts itching
But
themselves.
like down to the tour, like I booked most all of the tour, and that's something that is like it was really cool to see. Like Mikayla said, the development of a project that you know is being successful, because you see people respond to it, and it's a really interesting experience, especially in the city, because people. I don't want to call it bandwagoning because that has like a very negative connotation, but it really is that. It's like when people see something that they like and is good, they jump onto it, and it's a really amazing feeling to be a part of something that is doing that.
Well, could I also add, just from my perspective, like when we were talking about some of the changes happening in New Orleans, one of the great things that I think I've learned over the last 10 years is that this infusion of new ideas, whether they agree with me or not, has been great for the city. I mean, it's been revitalizing. And even though I personally might not like everything, I have to say the direction is exciting, the input's exciting. I think a lot of the young people who have come here to rebuild New Orleans, I mean, you've done an invaluable service for New Orleans. I mean, it is.
But these guys are like the people who used to move here. They came here for the music. There's a different breed you're talking about who are opposing your...
No. I think even the music, though, has been rebuilt by all these new ideas, these new visions, and your love of New Orleans.
Yeah. It's changing with the way that music is all over the world, too, and how production and everything of it.
To play devil's advocate to what we were talking about earlier, we had talked about the negative things that come along with social media and all the ability to have your own voice and do that. But a lot of people always gloss over the opposite side of that coin, which is the amazing part about that you can have a voice.
Yes.
Like everyone can have a voice and say anything they want and say the things that make them feel like they need to say those things. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a huge part about, I think, what brings people down here to help, like you said, rebuild, to help continue the culture, to help do something like that. And what we talk about a lot as a band is not necessarily being a New Orleans band, but being a band that is from New Orleans. You know, we're not a New Orleans act, like it's not really our thing, but bringing that influence along with us and also the love for the city and the dedication that we have to this environment that we all love and appreciate so much, that has done so much for us as musicians, as people, is the infinite plus side of all of those negative things you were saying earlier about the social media movement.
Oh, well, like you said, the social media can be a double-edged sword. It also can promote. Like, you can just show a clip of you guys, and it's out.
It's helped
and it's
us
shared.
so
it's
much.
like to millions, instantly.
Oh,
and,
we have thousands of views on videos that we would have never been able to do had this happened 10 years ago. Had this happened even
I was in a
8
band
years ago.
growing up here. I was in a band in high school.
What was
so
it
we're
called?
talking like the Singles. We were horrible. We opened up for a very popular new wave band called The Cold. And
Oh, God, I
remember
love The
Cold?
Cold.
They were
Oh, my
from
God.
here.
I wanted to be Barbara Menendez.
She was my childhood friend. Her brother was my
Awesome.
best friends. He was a drummer in the band. We used to open up for them. We played, write our own stuff and played something.
What did you do, Brian?
I played keyboard and lead singer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Can you
but
still play the keyboard and sing?
I can play a couple of chords. I can
Okay.
still sing.
got one
Okay,
right
we've got a
here.
keyboard
Still
right here.
sing.
So we got a
I can-
trio
Let's
going
do
now.
it.
Is
No,
what I'm
you
hearing.
know I sing.
I know you.
I do Broadway musicals, for God's sakes. But doing that back then, you had to have flyers on all the
Posts.
telephone poles and
Right,
everything.
right,
Like
right.
try to get anyone to see you. And
now that's illegal.
So quick. I know. Exactly. So now,
I know,
But
I hate
instantly,
that.
you can get out there and get the word out and get your message out quickly, or and in a clever way.
Oh, yeah.
It also does. Makes you think, and what's my hook? How can I get someone's
Brand.
attention? You really have to tap into that.
That's really where my main position with the band has come in. Is I run all of our social media accounts. So something that I don't usually broadcast to a lot of people, which I guess I'm broadcasting to as many people as possible right now. But that's something that we talk about a lot, and I talk about to the band a lot, is creating the persona of what we are, because that's just as big as us as individuals, or us as musicians, or us as a collective in general. Because now, like you said, anyone and everyone can have that insight to you immediately. So there's a chance that you might be, like as before, we talked about this on the tour as well, but as before, having the right ear to bend about your music could easily be like get you in or out. Whereas now, you have a billion ears to bend at the click of a button, and that's the way that.
And with that, you have to know how to catch their attention.
Exactly.
To
Understanding
what works and what doesn't.
understanding
What
their
are you,
way.
what are you trying to do?
rule the
Be
world.
famous.
That's
right?
exactly rule the world.
Know
Yes.
that.
Are you trying to sell records? Are you trying to get people to come to your show? I mean, no one's buying any records anymore.
My biggest
What's
thing,
the plan?
what I say is my goal. I think I'm the planner of the group actually.
He has
too.
so many
I have
plans.
so many plans,
Good.
but
It's a good thing.
Yes.
No,
But,
it's a great
Brian,
thing.
would you say that's a good thing to start off?
You've
And you're the
gotta
most
have a-
successful person in
You've
show
got to have
business.
a
and-
plan or a goal or a dream. I hate to sound like Pollyanna, but you do. You can't. And some people go aimlessly through life and wonderful things happen, and some people go aimlessly through life and crap happens. If you
That's
have
most
a
of
goal,
us.
If you have a goal, at least it's something to strive towards and work towards. I'm a firm
Well,
believer in that.
okay, well, you're super famous. You're a famous Broadway and television star.
In my own mind.
Award
Yes,
winning.
well, in a very small circle.
Thank
No,
you.
I
it's
did
true.
walk in today and
You've
say,
been-
"Who's that guy? I know
You've
him."
been a star on Broadway. You've been a star on television. Did you plan any of this, or do you
I
just?
did plan. I studied. I worked. I went to New York right out of college. Studied and took classes, and I beat the pavement down and went to every audition I could get into, and worked very hard. And the Mad Men happened totally by fluke. It was just I turned down my first audition, but I actually. went in and I didn't care. I was in the middle of rehearsal for a silly play off Broadway, and I went in on my lunch break, and I didn't care because I never booked television. I gesture too big, and I'm too broad. And I was just tired, and I walked in, read, and thank God I didn't have to jump through hoops for the network because it was their first, drama that they were doing on just basic cable show, and the director and creator liked me, and that was that. That doesn't happen all the time, but I was in a place where I could walk in and be calm enough to, read this, I'd be put on tape and then do it.
We were already a successful stage.
Yeah, but they don't care about that.
No, but you...
TV and film people do not care, like Broadway,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Please, I was in Cats. That was one of my first jobs. I mean, really, claw paw. It's anyway.
What was that like being in Cats?
I was the biggest pussy on Broadway. It was, it was fun.
Because you're part of a sensation.
You're part
I
of
mean,
it.
Really? I
It
mean,
was- I
history,
wasn't
the
the origi-
longest running show, right?
I was not the original company. I was like later on.
It all counts.
But it was fun. And one thing leads to another. And that's what I was trying to say, not in a good, but it didn't come out right. You never know what, like when you play one gig, you never know who's going to be there.
Oh, for
You
sure.
never know who's going to talk afterwards and tell someone. And like same thing with acting and theater and being shows where I always, if people ask advice and I just say, do your job, show up on time, be prepared, do the best you can, and don't fish off the company pier. Don't. A friend of mine, he was one of the actors in Mad Men. He wants to write when he writes his book, it's going to be called Don't Screw Juliet, because he was on tour and he had sex with the girl playing Juliet, and it messed everything up. So you have to play Romeo and Juliet for the rest of the year opposite someone that hates you. But
Now that's acting.
But like with our store, Hazelnut on Magazine Street, when you were saying about social media, I reluctantly, friends of mine said you have to get into this. You have to do besides the web. We had the website. You have to do Facebook. You have to do Instagram and all this stuff, Twitter, all this stuff. And it was also when I wrote my books. The press people from Random House said you must. And it wasn't like we think you should. No, you have to.
No, you have to.
You have to. And it sort of kind of pulled me along into, the 21st century. And it is interesting and it's different. And I'm enjoying it.
Do you do your own social media, or do you have someone like Cheron's company to do?
I do a lot of my own personal stuff, and it bleeds off into the business. We do have.
Do you have someone?
One of our associates
Right.
that works with us, and that's what she. Besides working in the store, we're a small little gig. It's a small little shop on Magazine.
But it's been there for 13 years.
13
14,
years in
that's
October. We're moving. We're moving 4 doors down to double the space. So
You're expanding.
yeah, expanding.
Do
Yeah.
people come in the store expecting to see you?
Yes, they
So,
do.
so you have to be there.
No, I mean, if I'm in town and I'm not working on a film or out of town doing a show or something, I am there. And it's funny because they're like, no, you really work here, right? And I'm wrapping packages, porter with a mop, ripping down boxes, doing whatever I need to do because
Do you
it's also my
enjoy it?
business. I do.
Would you give up all the acting and everything and do that full
No,
time?
I'd rather do the acting. Trust me. People say, "What's better, film or stage?" And I said, "Are you kidding? Film is so much.
Really? You like it better? I would think
No,
you'd love the live audience.
I love the live audience, but an 8-show-a-week schedule is grueling when you think about it. And everyone goes, "Oh, you only do 8 shows a week," but it's pretty. You start preparing around 6, and then until 11, your energy is focused on that, and it's recreating that show every night, making it seem like the first time. And then matinee days, it's double. So, but it's doing the same, but. You only have one day off sometimes, and then with film and television, you usually have the weekend off, and you're not called all the time unless you're like the big star of the movie. When I was on Mad Men, if I worked 3 days a week, whoo, that's a big week. I mean, and they're paying
And it's
you for
paid more
this.
as well, yeah.
And the money's better, but there is nothing like a live audience. You know that. Of
course.
Can I ask you, did you go to school for theater or
Yes.
for performance?
Yes,
okay.
I did. I mean, in retrospect, I should have gone to a conservatory. I didn't know that this is really what I wanted to do when I was.
What did you think you wanted to do?
I thought I was just going to stay in New Orleans and be a lawyer and, do. I know.
Did you go to law school?
No,
Well,
no.
that would have been very
when I did
difficult
my
to
first
feel.
play at Libertine, I went, okay, this is it. This is it.
Well, I mean, he has a brother who's a politician.
My brother's a
I know your
politician,
brother,
and we
Jay
are polar
Batt, is-
opposites.
And
Really?
I have to
Yeah.
have to confess, Brian, because it's Wednesday, and the Pope wants us to do confessions.
Oh, okay. What? Because
Your
Wednesday
brother
good on my cap.
hated me.
Really?
I think he likes me now.
I don't
mean,
think
he tolerates me, but he
So-
hated.
He's a big business
Sharon,
guy.
you're in politics as well. You've been representing people in politics to get people elected.
Yes.
And Jay, your
Yes.
brother, was
Right.
was a
He was a
city
councilman.
Was a councilman.
Yeah.
And he was a lawyer before that. Has he gone?
No,
back?
no, he's not a
No.
lawyer.
Well, he's a businessman.
Businessman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bat means business.
Ran
Right.
a
Remember
clothing
that?
store. Ran a
Yeah,
clothing
Joseph
store.
Banks. He has a bunch
Yeah.
of Joseph Banks all
Oh,
over.
he has
Yeah.
Joseph
Yeah.
Banks tools.
Very
Okay, so he's
successful.
not a
Yeah.
lawyer at all. So that's what he does now. So
Right.
he's in the clothing business,
Yeah.
really. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So he got.
Entrepreneur, he has other
Entrepreneur,
things.
yeah.
So he
out
was a
of-
Republican.
Yes, big in the Republican
Yes,
Party.
yes.
How do you get-
Okay,
how do you-
please
in New
not
Orleans,
talk-
But
What?
still,
I was
yeah,
just
he's
gonna
still
say
a
the same
leader in the
thing,
state
Terrence.
Republican Party.
It is, one of the thorns in my paw. It's like,
But how did you
we
get
just
elected?
we just have to agree at family functions not to discuss.
You just don't
stuff.
go politics.
He keeps on telling me, he's like, he was the best man at my wedding when I married Tom. He loved. He's like, I don't.
Well, he's open-minded enough to go to a gay wedding of his brother, and
yeah,
you
and
know,
support
so
same-sex
that's
marriage
cool.
and all this other stuff.
It's
I'm
not
like, why
totally
isn't your
Republican.
party on board with this? What century are you living in? Move
Well, that-
forward. What are you? What I don't know why everybody's afraid of letting everyone have the same joy and the same rights as everyone else. I don't understand
don't
what people
understand
are afraid.
it either.
How does it diminish? If I have something wonderful, I want to share it with somebody. I see a great show. I'm like, oh my God, you've got to go. We were just talking about Hamilton. I'm
Right.
like going on and on how great it is. I want everyone to enjoy and have the best possible life as possible. Why does anyone want to deny someone something wonderful?
Or something
I
as
don't know.
simple as holding the hand with the hand of
Yes,
someone you love.
yes.
I don't understand why that's
Yes.
offensive to someone to
Yeah.
see.
Well, the Supreme Court agrees with us all now, so I wouldn't
Exactly.
worry
I wish
about
everyone
that.
thought
Yeah.
So we're past
No,
that
it's just, I
point.
was
We
just
made
staying up
progress.
late last
You have a
night
law
on
on your
Facebook. I
side.
have to get off the Facebook with a friend of mine in Arkansas. The kid is suing the school and
What?
because he wanted to bring his boyfriend to the prom and they wouldn't let him.
No,
and-
we're still doing all this stuff.
Oh yeah,
absurd.
and it was because it was a private Christian, which it really wasn't. If you look up the word, they were saying it was a private school. Some of the people saying, well, he should have stuck to the rules. That's the rules of the school. I'm like, okay, A, the rules are wrong. B, when rules are wrong, you change them. Let's look at historically how many rules we had on the books that are wrong. Slavery, there's
Yeah.
tons of them. And finally someone got the handbook from the school and read and basically supported. It said, they will not be intimidated by sexual preference and all this other stuff. And basically I said, okay, end of story. The school said it, they're contradicting themselves. So.
But this is never ending. This sort of.
Oh, I know.
I think it's one of those
There's-
things, to me, the way I equate it is just the heterosexual white people have been in the VIP lounge for way too long, and they're not ready to open up the ropes
No.
yet. And that's the problem is that with a lot of people, and not to say that it is a cross-generational thing, but I feel like we're in a phasing period where I think we're going to really start, because it seems like everyone as someone who's a young person in the scene right now, I feel like everyone that's around me is, I guess, what they call a liberal now, but someone who supports rights for everyone, the same.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's I see all
guess I
the
am.
I see all this stuff on social media, and I see all this stuff about all the negativity, and it's just like, who's doing all the all the people I know are very, and it's just like, it makes me, like you said, it's very sad and unfortunate that there's still people out there that are perpetuating that kind of ignorance.
It depends what you're taught. It is. I believe it is all taught. I do. Although some people are more receptive. Their genes are more receptive
And
to.
it's also about power. And
Yeah, oh,
power,
yeah.
people don't give up power just
Right.
because you're nice.
So it's meaning not opening up the ropes to the VIP area very easily,
And that's
So-
why they have them. I'm Steve Rebell. You can't come in Studio 54.
Exactly.
Were you in New York in those Studio 54 days back then?
No,
I was.
You were, Sharon.
Loved it.
I went once. I went once.
Are you from here originally, Sharon? Or are you
I
from New
am,
York?
but I had.
You went to New York in the.
I went to New York a lot in the 70s and 80s, and
So what were the best drugs you were doing back then?
okay, this is the really sad thing, and there were a lot of people who still don't believe I never did drugs. I was never a drug user.
You never did any of those drugs in Studio 54 like
I am
everybody
a
talks
caffeine and chocolate girl.
I think my
Really?
question is,
Yeah.
where was the
There's
best
nothing
house
wrong with
music?
that.
What's that?
Where was the best house music?
House music.
I love Danceteria.
I love
Oh my
Danceteria.
God!
Oh my God.
OMG!
Right.
Madonna at the door.
Yeah.
Deborah, what's her name?
Harry? Deborah
No,
Harry?
no, the one that's best friends with Madonna, and she's.
So you went to
She's
the
in
same
the
clubs as
HBO.
Madonna back in the...
She was not famous then.
She was not.
Right.
And it was...
Deborah
Did you know-
Mazer.
did you-
Deborah
Deborah
Mazer,
Mazer.
even better looking than Madonna.
They were...
Did you know
it was
Madonna?
it was in the warehouse district. Where was it? In
It
the
was like in the
Midtown,
well,
right?
it was called like the
In the Bowery.
Alphabet City area down
It was,
there. Then
all
it was
this-
really
every floor
There
was a
was-
different
trashy.
type of
Yeah.
music.
There was area and
Yeah.
danceteria. What was
Area.
it?
Remember Area?
yeah,
Area's
but I
too
didn't like
swank.
Area. I was a danceteria girl.
Area was kind
I
of
loved
modelly
dance-
and it was kind of fun. Though. I loved how
It
the
was- it was-
design of
it
it
was-
because
yeah.
it was
Well,
kind of cool.
one of
But
them, they
Andy
changed
Warhol
the themes.
hung out
Oh, you knew
at
him too?
danceteria
Yeah.
constantly.
And remember the
And
name of the
it-
rooftop during the summer?
I don't remember. the name of it.
Wuthering Heights.
Oh, okay.
They shot like Gobo's lights on all the water towers of all the surrounding buildings,
Oh, wow.
all different colors. And it'd be some different act. It'd be like a crazy
It was
accordion
really
player
cool.
on the roof and strung
awesome.
lights. It was wonderful.
But New York at that time in that area was really trashy and people were squatting in buildings.
And it was expressive too. I
It
mean,
was,
like
yeah, very
this
artsy.
new music was
and-
coming out. New
the
wave was
same
on punk.
thing.
That's why I asked that. Is like that time in New York was supposed to be like the greatest time to ever
was
live
fun.
anywhere. You know,
Well,
like the
people
development.
might,
oh, well, there's
the
certain
20s
people.
might be, but we weren't around for that.
But the same thing happened in New York that's happening here. That it all got bought
Gentrified.
up.
Oh gosh, it's
People-
all every
people
corner's
with
a
money.
bank or Dwayne
So,
Reed.
okay, so where do all these people get all this money from? It
I
used to
don't
be
know.
No,
New
if
York
someone
City
could tell
used to
me,
be
I'd be
half.
so happy. Hire me. I want one of those political jobs that you sit at and people pay you and you get caught and you get written about
Like
for
a
not doing anything.
A consultant.
I have
know.
never found those.
I
Isn't
don't think
that-
Elizabeth.
I was about to
Warren's
talk to Elizabeth Warren about
Yeah,
that.
I don't think
She
she's going to be too keen on that.
was- She was just talking some smack to Wells Fargo. I saw the other day.
Wells Fargo.
That's a great story. We got bigger problems than Wells Fargo, though.
Yes, we do.
What happens now? You're a political consultant, Sharon, right? So this is what you do for a living.
Right.
This is what you do for a living every single day for the last X number of years.
It is a big part of my business.
Okay, so what is the deal? What is the chance of Donald Trump getting elected
good.
president of the United? Very good.
Very good. Yes.
And
Everybody should be terrified and
when
make sure
should-
they go vote. And let me tell you, to me, having worked on trying to elect women to non-traditional positions for most of my life.
Non-traditional. President is pretty traditional.
And non-traditional is pretty non-traditional
Well,
for a
having-
woman.
For a
Oh, that's
woman.
called
No,
non-traditional.
you have to
Oh,
realize
because
for
it's
a
the
woman.
sort of thing that a woman doesn't get elected to normally.
Right. And so you have
Okay,
to
I'll have to give
remember
you
that
that.
women have only really been voting and then running for office recently. So it's not. It's
Okay.
So
Well, you make your point, and then I'll ask you: does anyone care that Hillary Clinton's a woman or not? But
They do. And
They
I
do.
think
I
the
think
people
people
who write the
do they?
checks really would rather be in the room with anyone other than a woman.
Are you
Especially
serious?
a strong woman like Hillary. Yeah.
I think a lot of men are very, very turned off and very emasculated in a way they allow themselves to be by a very strong woman. There's these, I don't know if it's mommy issues or whatever.
I think it's the same thing he was just talking about that VIP. You're not ready to let anyone in except
Yeah.
for the people who've been there for so many years.
I'd say I totally agree. That's the one part of that, the caveat to everything I was saying before, all the people around me being progressive people mostly. But I've actually heard people say, well, I'm not going to vote for a woman.
For a
It's
woman.
just
I'm-
You've
and
heard
it
people
terrifies
say
me
that.
because I meet
this
people
is people
that
in Pinckneyville said that, or
Oh, well, I mean, I've known some people there as well, but people around here as
Yeah.
well that I'm
people in
associating
New
with.
Orleans
It's
just
just
said
like,
they're
well,
not going to
this-
vote for.
it's just a woman. It's like,
But
why?
think about this. In 2008, she was primed then to win. She was probably the most qualified candidate then. And we traded her off. Right? We were rather the minority. I'm not saying that was a bad thing. That was obviously groundbreaking and an important
Right.
move too. So I don't want to diminish that. But on the other hand, I think look at the polls right now. It's pretty much a dead even race.
Do you think
and
that-
there's no doubt who would be the better executive.
Exactly.
No doubt.
I pray. I mean, deep down in my soul, I would like to believe that a country that elected an eloquent, intelligent, wonderful black man twice by large margins, they're not going to elect this,
Well,
But you know,
Sharon
the pendulum
says,
swings.
Yeah.
you know,
and you
But
never know
how
because I know a
far?
lot of people are so against Trump, but also don't like Hillary, and so they're like, "Well, I'm just not going to vote," and that's so
Oh,
scary.
that's, I said this to someone else the other day. I said, does your dislike for Hillary, or the fact she's a woman, trump, forgive the pun, your love for country? I mean, for do what's right. Okay, you don't like the choices, but one is obviously a detriment. You can dislike whatever you want, but one is obviously. I mean, I have never seen that kind of language coming out of any political, in
Everybody's
public forum,
shocked.
calling
Adult,
for
really.
violence.
But you
I mean, he
know,
acts like a child.
So much has been on the table with Obama as president, in the sense that I think, like even some of the things we're seeing right now, I kind of equate to, like in therapy, like a big national primal screen.
Are you in therapy?
No, but I
Okay.
mean, it's something therapeutic, and as ugly as it is, it's something we all have to go through.
Do you think it's a big
it's like
screw
when
you to like people are going,
I certainly have I've been in therapy before, and when you're in a group and you're letting out all your anxiety over your parents or growing up or whatever it is, we still need to talk about our anxiety about slavery and hatred and the awful things
How does
we've
this
done.
play into Trump versus Clinton?
Because I think sometimes when you have a candidate as groundbreaking as Obama was, a lot of times the forces that thought, it won't be that big of a deal for me to have someone who doesn't look like me, act like me in office,
Right.
and it's threatening. And so all those people swing to the other side. And so a lot of times you may move forward, and then you've got to move 2 steps back
so
to
you
move
mean
forward again.
the penance that we pay for electing a black man to the presidency
Maybe
is now
to electing Donald
we
Trump.
have to go back
Swinging
10 steps.
polar opposite, yes.
A lot
and
of times
elect
that
him
happens.
sort
the
of
food chain.
Wow, that's an
I've
interesting
seen that
theory.
happen locally. When Dutch Moran was elected the first black mayor, he was routinely hated and accused of all kinds of things.
What year was that?
That is 1978.
Yeah.
And he served 2 terms. And by once he'd left, people loved him. They realized he was not an awful person,
Well,
but
we've
he
got
was
to this point with Obama now, too.
I feel like
That's
that's
right.
He doesn't seem so
much
bad
of the
compared
attacks
to
are unwarranted, but there's a fear there that people can't verbalize. All they can do is say it in the most awful ways, but they won't admit that what they're really reacting to is
Okay,
their
so
fear.
as a political consultant, if you were one of these people who were getting overpaid to give people advice, what advice would you give Hillary at this point to save the country?
Wow. I do feel like Hillary has probably aligned herself a little bit too much with the incoming administration. There's a lot of
with
things.
the current administration.
Yes, I mean the current administration. There's a lot of things I think in foreign policy that she obviously didn't agree with.
Well, she was a Secretary of State, though, because she said she can't run away from that.
She left, and I think there was a disagreement over what to do in Syria in particular.
So you think she should come out and say that? I didn't agree with Obama,
I think
but
there's
I was
some things she
hamstrung.
needs to be a little bit more honest that she didn't. And I think that the truth is that the country is divided over some of the things that have happened. And her almost aligning solely with, even her logo, which is a move along the side, is not a move up.
You mean this arrow?
Yeah, this arrow
Oh,
that
that's
just moves
interesting.
to the. I think for some people, even supporters of Hillary, that's not what they want. They don't feel like we're going just to the side is good enough. And I think.
So were you saying pre or post-election that she needs to come out and admit that she disagreed with some of the
I think she
administration on
just
those
in
issues?
her
Post-election will be a little bit late, James.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that, obviously. I'm just wondering how
Post-election
that
will-
affects the opposite side.
I think also she really hasn't gotten. Right now, I feel like she's not getting her message out. Of course, it's important at this point to attack your opponent, and then you move towards love.
Okay, so
your
she's
story.
been trying with we can't elect this guy, is dangerous. You've got to have some common sense and elect me, and that's not working, apparently.
It's not.
So what she's,
It is not.
So just coming out and saying, is just going to be enough, just coming out and saying, I don't agree with Obama and that he was
I don't
wrong?
think that's the key.
So
I
what's,
just think
there's
that
got to
she's
be
probably,
one moment.
I
She's-
think
I
these
think-
people are so they're so blinded by everything that these Trump supporters. He said he could step out on Fifth Avenue and shoot someone, and it's still support. I have people that I know that are intelligent lawyers in the city that said to me, I would vote for a chimpanzee before I would vote for Hillary Clinton, which I thought, well, you might be. And that makes,
Right.
I'm sorry, I should not say that about
But
chimpanzees.
I do think that, I think with Donald Trump, unfortunately, as much as I hate his little talking points about building a wall and keeping out all the Syrians and 2 or 3 things that he stands for. And unfortunately, when you think about Hillary right now, I think she's against Donald Trump. And I think that she thinks that we need to keep going forward. But what does that mean? I think
So what you're saying is she doesn't have 2 or 3 things you can say. This is
like
why I'm going to
Bernie.
vote for her.
Bernie was free health care, getting free college, right? I think Hillary's not done a great job of just saying what makes Hillary.
I totally agree.
I don't know, but I agree. But also, I think she's also for mostly equal rights for women, and
Yes.
and a lot of things. She's been quite vocal about that.
I
we
But
know
this
that
free
about Hillary.
college, free college.
know that about Hillary.
Can we get on it this time? I enjoy because I found it very interesting that free college is all that. So I never really agreed that what I learned in college really, I could have gone to other schools or other forms of education. I could have gone to an acting school and gotten what I needed to succeed.
But
wonder,
you knew it somehow involved schooling. I mean, in Louisiana, we still believe if you go to the 8th grade and you graduate, it's awesome.
But what about technical schools? Right. What about these? I would like to. Not everyone can or should, this is my opinion, go to college. And from every social and economic level.
In
I know kids that are at Newman that should not be there.
We need to really focus on not just K through 12, but at least like K through 14.
Yeah.
2
years of a
people
technical
need to
vocational
realize
school.
that-
I think men and women in schools should have shop and home ec.
economics, yeah.
Both men and women.
Totally.
I graduated. I didn't know how to do a load of laundry. I still can't sew on a goddamn button. I can't sew on a freaking button.
Okay.
What the hell is that about? I can't balance a checkbook.
Have you thought about-
I can't make a meal.
Have you thought
I can't
about-
make a meal.
you
I
can't
take
cook?
That. I can cook a little bit, but these are life skills that
good
unfortunately
to learn,
no one's getting
Scott.
it at home. But
Well,
they
have you
used to
thought
teach
about
it in
have
the
you
schools.
thought about running for anything?
No. No,
What-
I'd rather
what-
bathe an old lady than do that. Yeah, that is not fun. No one likes you, no matter what. It's like being the quarterback for the Saints. No matter what, they go, "Hey, you should have punted it." Everyone's going to have a better opinion. Everyone can do it better.
Well, everybody can do everything better than you, though.
Of
That's
course.
yeah,
Well,
that's
well,
everyone's got an opinion about
I can do
everything.
anything better than
That
you.
can't scare you off.
No,
I'm sure
but
people
it is
think
true. You
anybody
make
can.
a decision, and you're on the stage, and
I'm-
everybody
Yeah.
has their opinion about the
I
decision.
never thought about that.
It's very hard.
I don't read the blogs after I do a show or something
Right.
like that. It's like, knock on wood, I've been very well received.
No, I'm sure
But
people
I've gotten
aren't
some
getting
bad
out saying
reviews.
I could act as well as Bryan Batt because they don't actually think of themselves as actors. But if they had
Right.
an opportunity,
Right.
everyone thinks they can do everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone thinks they can. But you actually can certainly be a politician if you wanted to.
Well, obviously.
And-
Look who's running.
And everybody also, I think, thinks that they can own it because you watch it on TV
Right.
every day
And
and,
this-
people talk about it.
and toss in this
You should.
reality
It's
life
democracy.
that's going on, this
Right.
ridiculous, that the reality television, which it is not. I'm just telling you right now. I did a little tiny design reality
I
show.
love Naked and Afraid, though.
You see,
Naked and Afraid. Everyone's got one they like.
I don't. I have one. I'm not. Okay, I will say I watched Project Runway because I had a friend on it, and she was, on it, and it
Oh,
requires a
God.
talent.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Love
Love
that.
it.
Another one.
Love
See,
that show.
that's not a.
I don't have one, I don't think.
That requires a talent. These ones where they're on like the dating, these people that watch The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, where they're going like,
I never
and
saw
then
that
they're
one.
supposed to get married, and that's sanctity. Come on, we've come like that is why people saw Donald Trump in their house every night, and like, well, I know him, he's funny, he tells her you're fine. We want our commander-in-chief to his catchphrase is "You're fired."
To circle back to what you were saying before about the issues with Hillary, I wasn't blaming. The thing that I feel about it is that everything that is platform-wise about her has just been overshadowed by all the BS she's had to deal with the other side of the election. That's how I mean,
Very true.
over the
The
last
email
6
thing.
months or so, I've done my best to stay out of the election news and stuff like that, but it seems to me that she's been overshadowed just by the sheer amount of ignorance that she's either had to deny or talk about against Donald Trump, which is what to me is the serious issue. It's like no one's even considering her platform as a platform that they need to know about. Which
And
is
she has the most detail
I
of
agree
everybody.
exactly.
But he's
Yeah.
the star. So we're only looking at things in terms of him. He's on the front
He's a
page.
media
he's
monster.
the guy
Exactly.
Media whore,
he's the
yeah.
guy we're talking about, and
He's a
everything's in
genius.
terms.
Oh
He's-
no, he
he is pretty clever.
I feel like
at
I've never
that.
lived through an
Very
election
clever.
like that. I've only been through a few of them, but I've always
Never.
known pretty, even at a young age, you see
This is never.
sides.
I will say this. I love politics. I think it's fun, but it used to be funner.
The joke's over now, though.
Well, because one
This
thing
is not
about
funny.
Donald Trump is that he's accessible. And it used to be that politics was a lot more give and take and not so manufactured by pollsters and consultants. And it's gotten to be so manufactured, it's it's just not fun anymore. I mean, you used to fight in the streets with leaflets and
Well, maybe it's just
secret
not fun because maybe you're just sick of it.
Well, you know,
maybe so.
Maybe you need to,
move on.
do something else. What else would you do?
That is a
I want to
reason.
work at Starbucks.
What about you could go work at Hazelnut?
Come be Porter with the mop or rap chick with me.
And I want to go to a class that drag queens teach you how to do makeup.
Yeah.
Because
I'm sure
Why are you
that-
looking at
they
me?
are makeup. I am
You
sorry.
totally looked at me like
that
drag
was-
queens do makeup.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Not you, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Brian. I mean it.
I have done La Cage aux Folles, but come on.
Well, I suck at doing makeup, and they are awesome. They're better than women.
That's not a full-time gig though. Putting on makeup like a drag queen.
I mean, it
That's
kind of
good
is.
for it.
Depends on who you're talking to.
It could be.
I mean, look at RuPaul. You know?
Yeah.
Well,
So there's plenty of
RuPaul's made a living
cosmetologists
out
out
of
there that are doing
Like you
plenty
said-
of work.
It could be a good selling point for
Listen.
That might
Wait up.
that like they ought to like do a makeover on on Trump in drag and put him on a
Oh my
reality show.
God.
That's a good. Now listen.
He's got enough hair.
Do you guys would like to play some music for us? That was what I was thinking at some point here.
Yeah,
if
sure.
we don't do it
Yeah.
now,
Awesome.
So
what's going on with
I
you?
want to set this song up because this is the first time we've ever done anything like acoustically. Because we have a 6 and sometimes 7-piece band.
Oh,
We have
wow.
drums, bass, sometimes guitar, trombone, saxophone, a keyboardist, and then when the keyboardist plays saxophone, I play keyboards and I sing in it. So this is just piano, which
So
I
this
don't
is the
even
first
play
time-
piano on this song, but
Uh-oh.
piano and
So
trombone
this is a
today.
sort of a.
This is the first time we've ever done this version of this song ever.
So
Crooked
it's
Vines.
it's piano and trombone combo.
and
That's
and
pretty
voice.
cool, right?
We do so to give you a little bit of preface, I guess, towards the music that we talked about before. We didn't actually get into talking about that, but you talked about our goal, what we're doing. What we talk about, we've kind of branded what we call, like you talked about branding and marketing with Facebook and all that stuff. We started calling what we play funk pop, which isn't a thing, but we've created it as a thing.
It is now.
Exactly, it is now. So we've kind of tried to cross over into the mainstream. Our main goal, I think, as a band in general, is we're all pretty pissed about how shitty music is now, especially
that's
mainstream
a huge
music.
statement.
Mainstream music is what I mean. The radio,
What's
the radio
manufactured?
play. Exactly.
So,
and we're
yeah.
trying to bring back the idea that it doesn't have to be like that to be good. And there's still artists out there doing that, but we are trying to bring, and especially that New Orleans side of it, that New Orleans painting to it.
It was really cool. We actually just got back from the end of our tour. We were in Ocean Springs, and we just did a writing session with just a little bit, or a few of us, handful of us. And it was so interesting to have all of our different experiences getting into our world of music and then finding each other and then writing together in this way. Usually we just bring ideas to the group and we're like, oh, this horn line fits over that. Oh, I like this harmony here. But this was just from ground up, like writing together, and it was so interesting.
After 4 nights and 3 days, we had, 8 full songs?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of musicians, not just on the show, but through my whole career. And you two talk faster than any musician I've ever interviewed.
I think he rubs off on me.
But
They
you
haven't.
you
They have,
speak
the
so
drugs
quick.
haven't kicked in.
That's what it is.
They
It's
haven't
pretty late
started.
for me
Do the-
today, or so.
Do the other 6 members of the band speak this quickly as well?
Whenever we're arguing with each other, probably.
It's
No.
possible.
We get a lot
It's
more
possible.
done this way.
Oh yeah.
We could
Or-
get like 3 or
we get a
4
lot
shows
less done.
We
knocked
talked in
out.
circles for about 2 hours
It's also a
yesterday
great
about
lesson
one
in
thing.
compromise too. It's working together. I mean, you're
Oh,
you're,
yeah.
you're working for the common good,
Yeah.
and you know, if whatever's best for the band or the best for the song, you know, there's going to be some artistic differences, but the goal is to make the best song
Mikayla
and
and I
create
talked.
the most best music.
We talked about this a lot, and I said this thing. I iterate this all the time. The platform. It's all about what's best for. It's not about what's best for us or the band or the music. Even it's what's best for the world. It's what's best for the music community.
Yeah.
So
That's a lofty goal.
I mean, that's
Okay, we'll do something
what we're
good for
yeah.
the world
Let's
and
play
play
some music.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Hold
we
that
just have
keyboard
to
over
tune
here.
this.
So I'll set up the song while she sets the keyboard up over here.
Okay.
What should I do?
This song is called 2020. Like I said before, we've never played this version of it, so bear with us.
Do you want Brian
But,
to sing backup vocals
yeah,
for you?
chime in whenever,
Jump in.
please. But this
You
song
want to
is
teach- You can teach Brian whatever
this
his
song.
part
The
is.
chorus of this song, it's about life, taking you all different places and seeing all the different things you've ever seen, and then using all that knowledge to kind of give back to everything, and putting it past yourself to say that this isn't about me, it's about everyone else around us. Let me get my horn, actually. I got to get my
All
trombone
right,
to
go
do this.
get your trombone. It's the Crooked Vines, first time we've ever played this song acoustic, or played anything
You heard it
acoustically?
here.
Anything?
At all.
Okay.
Yeah.
You heard it here
I
first.
guess I'll sing loudly.
Do we have to move that microphone for you, or do you want to use this mic?
Here, yeah.
Right, use this
Yeah, we
one.
can share that.
We probably won't need a mic for the trombone, I wouldn't
No,
think.
no, not at all. Not trombone. I'll lean in.
Okay.
We both sing.
2020.
Now the mixers, you're just gonna go crazy.
He's been walking around in a hazy day, wishing he could see you, baby. Could there be another way to get back to that special place? She lies about the things she feels, never knowing what is real. Looks at her life, sees the things she fears, remembering what she had was real. Life takes us different ways, from living our dreams to hiding our pain. Just know that we are all the same, fighting for a better place. I don't know what the end will hold, only the past is known. But we can wait and see, and maybe we can find a new design that'll make us feel brand new. They talk about the past in life, drinking from the bottle tonight. Can finally see in a different light. Maybe this will end their strife. Life takes us different ways, from living our dreams to hiding our pain. Just know that we're all the same, we're fighting for a better place. And life takes us all different ways, from living our dreams to we're hiding our pain. Just know that we're all the same. We're fighting for a better
Oh my goodness. Well,
So-
what'd you think of that?
I'm not worried about the future.
No, me neither.
Suddenly, I'm not worried about the future.
Yeah.
I think you did a good job for the rest of the world there.
That was, like I said, that was the first time we've ever done that. So that was
Our band
cool.
doesn't really sound like that, but that was
Yeah,
cool.
that was
It
cool.
sounded fantastic.
Yeah, you got to look out for the record.
Beautiful.
That's, I guess, the plug section. We just finished the Kickstarter.
You finished the Kickstarter.
We just
So
finished our
you-
Kickstarter campaign.
you got it?
It came to fruition, yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We're going to be recording our next record in either November or December of this coming year for a spring 2017 release. It's going to be pre-Jazz Fest. And that's going to be coming out. Hopefully it's going to be 12 songs, but everyone's arguing with me on that, so we'll see.
Well, we got a
But-
lot done this week.
And where do we find you?
Oh, you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram,
Where
on
do you play?
Spotify.
Here
We
in
play.
Newtown?
We play at Tips pretty often. We play at Maison fairly often. Actually, we're doing a monthly residency to talk about that
yeah.
with everyone. We're going to be doing a weekly residency at Chicky Wawa this coming month.
Wednesdays.
So Wednesdays at Chicky Wawa in October. You can come catch us. We're going to be using that as a lot of our groundwork for performance for the CDs and tracks like that for working that stuff out. So
And tomorrow we're going to be at the Howlin' Wolf. Or no, I'm sorry. Tomorrow we're going to be at the Dragon's Den, and then Friday we'll be at the Howlin' Wolf Den.
Awesome.
as well.
yeah,
Okay.
we're playing 2 games in
Beautiful
2 days.
voices. Beautiful.
And we can find you online at what exactly?
TheCrookedVines.com
TheCrookedVines.com.
or
Okay.
Facebook.com/TheCrookedVines.
All right.
Just Google us, and the first 30 results that come up are us. The Crooked Vines.
And meanwhile, we can steal the stuff off Spotify and YouTube.
No,
and
no,
Exactly.
pay for your music, pay
the
for your
usual
music.
places, right?
Damn it.
Brian, where can we see you coming up in the near future?
Well, I'm going to be here for a while. I'm doing a show with the LPO, Broadway night with the symphony on November 12th. But I'm here. Like I said, we're moving our store Hazelnut on Magazine Street a couple of doors down. But you can catch us at www.hazelnutneworleans.com or me at bryanbatt.com. That's Brian with a Y. And find out, who knows, I have a couple of movies in the can that might be coming out soon. I don't know. We'll see, And just enjoying being home. And
Okay.
so, I'll be here hopefully through the holidays.
Good to have you
Yeah,
around.
I'm glad to be here.
And Cheron Brylski, we can find you at Starbucks.
Yes,
When-
Starbucks
when
really
do you
CC's.
start-
I'm addicted to CC's.
When do you start work at Starbucks? Can you give? We can't really.
The calls are flying.
But you still,
pouring in.
your company is still rocking.
Yes, the Brylski Company.
The Brylski
I'm still
Company.
out there. You'll be reading something negative about me, I'm sure, sometime during the season.
So if the building goes
but
up,
go
in the-
Hillary, right?
Go Hillary. And you know what
Go
someone
Hillary.
said to me?
Hillary,
If you
please
have
go
enemy,
vote.
if you have an enemy or something like that, it means you've done something
Yeah.
with your life. You know what I mean? I hate to. It's
Let's
sad,
hope.
it's horrible, but it's
You
like
don't want people to hate
Didn't
you.
Aristotle
do
say
you?
Well,
that?
no matter what someone's going to disagree. The people, either you're in the parade having a great time or you're on the sidelines going, I wish I could do that. I like being in the parade.
I do too. Well, thank
All
you.
right.
I like
On that
I will
note,
remember
That's a great note to end on.
on that
Yes,
note,
let's
that's
be in
our
the
happy hour.
parade.
Thanks to Mikayla Braun and James Keene from the Crooked Vines.
Thank
to
you.
Bryan
Thanks so
Batt
much.
and Cheron Brylski.
Thank you
That's
very
happy
much.
hour. Our show is produced by Graham DePonte.
Thank you,
Right
Graham.
over
Thank you,
here.
Graham.
Our technical director is Thomas Walsh. Christian Unruh is our music director. And our live feed directors are Asher Griffith and Grayson Jennings. I think Asher's away today, but Grayson's been holding down the fort. Thank you very much for that. Our theme music was written by and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show and you can stay upright for about 60 minutes, drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com. We can also hear some other shows we make here. There's plenty more happy hours up there, as well as Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti live from Commander's Palace, True to the Game, with the very funny Chris True, Midnight Menu +1 with Margot Moss, and the man who ate New Orleans, Ray Canata, Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tooker, Milo's Music Parlor with Kim Vu, and the podcast about death, simply called Death the Podcast, with psychologist Dr. Ariane Alfant, as well as questions from the waiting room with psychiatrist Nick Pajic, and the inimitable Psych Ward with Dr. Ross Shields. You can find other great Louisiana podcasts at itsacadiana.com and It's Baton Rouge, LA. You can keep up with us on Facebook and Twitter and a bunch of other time-sucking social media as well. On all of it, we're called It's New Orleans. You can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our Facebook page. Those photos are taken today by Alison Moon. If you listen to this show on your favorite podcast app, thank you for subscribing to us. Take a moment to rate and review us if you've got a moment. That helps other people find us. Our show is recorded live today at Wayfare on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans. You might have discovered or noticed that Andrew Duhon is not here. He's on the road. He's somewhere across America for the next 12 weeks, I think. So you can find him at andrewduhon.com and go see him in the town near you. Maybe it's Pinckneyville. What state is that in again?
At the grandstand, guys, right at the fairgrounds. No, it's in Illinois.
In Illinois, Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For everybody around the table here at Wayfare and back at our offices at INO Broadcasting, thanks for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. I'll see you back here again next week on Happy Hour.
Nancy Kerrigan, Miss Val, and Amanda Pelkey want you to join their team on an empowering 7-night cruise to Bermuda. Bring the whole family on the Aurora Games Cruise, an experience designed to empower young female athletes. The 5 iconic mentors who will inspire her journey include 2-time figure skating Olympic medalist Nancy Kerrigan, championship UCLA gymnastics coach Valerie Condos-Field, and U.S. Olympic hockey gold medalist Amanda Pelkey. Visit AuroraGamesCruise.com today to score your spot on the first ever Aurora Games Cruise.